Avoid these foods that can kill you. Almonds. Not the almonds that you get at the store that are roasted that are good. No, I'm talking about raw almonds. These are raw almonds that are bitter. They might even be green in color, and they actually contain cyanide. Cyanide is a rapid acting, it's actually a very deadly chemical that can interfere with your body's ability to produce oxygen. Cyanide is actually used as a human poison, and it's commonly used in shows about the military, CIA, where they have people that have a cyanide pill in the back of their mouth just in case they have to kill themselves because they don't want to give up information to the enemy. The side effects of cyanide include convulsions, respiratory failure, and even death. Luckily, there is an antidote for cyanide, which is called hydroxycobalamin. For almonds though, you would need to consume a lot of these raw, green, bitter almonds in order for you to actually die. We're talking probably 1,000 of these almonds or more. But consuming low doses of these almonds could still cause negative effects and still give you low doses of cyanide, which you don't want. Instead, go for the sweet or go for the roasted almonds that you can find at the grocery store. Those won't have much cyanide. Raw cassava. Cassava is a root. It's often blended into a powder, and raw cassava can actually be fatal due to the fact that it has cyanogenic glycosides, which is just a science term of saying that there's particles inside there that will get broken down and turn into cyanide in your body. Cassava roots contains high levels of these compounds, especially in its unprocessed form. Cyanide restricts the body's ability to use oxygen, which can lead to asphyxiation as well as actually fatal consequences. Symptoms of acute cyanide poisoning from raw cassava include headaches, dizziness, confusion, rapid heart rate, and even more. So to safely consume cassava, it is really important that you process and prepare it correctly. This involves peeling, grating, soaking the cassava in water, typically for a prolonged period, maybe overnight. This process helps to reduce the cyanide content, as well as baking and boiling the actual root for preparation to eat is what helps to reduce the cyanide even further and makes it safe to consume. Green potatoes. So yes, green potatoes are actually not healthy for you to eat at all and can potentially be dangerous. So if you have green potatoes or if you have potatoes on them that have a green spot, make sure to cut off the green spot so that you're not consuming that. So green potatoes contain a toxic chemical called solanine. This is found primarily in the green spots of the potatoes or in the sprouts. So ingesting significant amounts of solanine can lead to like nausea, vomiting, discomfort, headache, diarrhea, and actually in really severe cases, it can lead to respiratory failure, coma, and even death. Green potatoes should be completely avoided, and any green parts of your potatoes should be peeled or sliced away before consuming. Nutmeg is number 4. So consuming large amounts of nutmeg can actually be fatal because of the compound that it contains called myristicin, which actually has psychoactive effects. So we all know that nutmeg is used in very small quantities as a spice and to add to your foods, but in large quantities, it can actually be very dangerous. So myristicin, when it's consumed in high quantities, can actually act as a central nervous system depressant. It actually has hallucinogenic properties as well. The toxic dose of nutmeg is going to depend on the individual's tolerance, their weight, height, and some other factors. Generally talking, consuming 5 to 20 grams of nutmeg can be considered toxic. It is important to note here, of course, that consuming that high of a dose in culinary purposes or while cooking is very uncommon. So just be careful with this one. Don't accidentally overdo it. Fugu, or the pufferfish. So fugu is a type of pufferfish that is highly poisonous, mainly because this fish contains tetrodotoxin, which is a very potent neurotoxin. If this fish is prepared incorrectly, the dose of tetrodotoxin that you consume could cause paralysis, respiratory failure, and even death. So symptoms of fugu poisoning would include tingling around the mouth and the lips, as well as all of your extremities, dizziness, nausea, and even muscle paralysis and cardiac arrest. Fugu consumption should really only be practiced by highly skilled individuals that know exactly how to prepare it and remove all of the toxins. Number 6 is going to be the Ackee fruit. Unripe fruit and seeds seeds of the Ackee fruit actually contain a toxin called hypoglycin A. If you were to eat unripe or improperly prepared Ackee fruit, this could lead to something called the Jamaican vomiting sickness. This is where you have uncontrollable vomiting, hypoglycemia, seizures, and could potentially even kill you. It is very crucial for this fruit specifically that you let it ripen and you let the plant and fruit open up on its own before you consume it. The ripe yellow arils are actually safe to consume. So raw elderberries are gonna be the number 7 on my list here. Elderberries are generally safe when they're cooked or they're processed. But if you're eating raw or unripe elderberries, that's when it could be toxic. So like some of the other foods on this list, raw elderberries actually contain cyanogenic glycosides, which can lead to producing cyanide in your body if consumed in high amount. Cyanide is a very common poison that is very toxic to humans. Some symptoms of cyanide poisoning would include nausea, vomiting, dizziness, rapid heart rate, in severe cases, loss of consciousness, cardiac arrest, and even death. You must cook elderberries thoroughly all the way through before consumption to remove any of those toxins. All right, guys, that makes up my entire list there. That is the 7 foods to avoid because they will kill you. As you can see, there's some common themes here. It is the unripe typically, or the unprocessed raw versions of certain plants, certain vegetables or fruits that are deadly. They contain deadly toxins in them that when they're ingested into the body are going to create a whole host of negative effects that you don't want. So the proper processing, cooking, and preparing of many of these foods is really the key to being able to consume them and actually extract the nutrients that are the whole reason that we're eating them in the first place. Comment below which one of these foods on the list would you try your luck with, and which of them are you going to avoid like the plague. That's all that I have for you today. So if you like this video, if you enjoyed it, gently hit the like button, maybe subscribe if you're feeling generous. That's how you can support me and the channel. Other than that, I hope you have a great rest of your week.